Hi, my name's Annie.
And my name's Jada.
We are from the year 2016. And we are here to bring you way back.
Yes, back to the time of warfare in 1914 to 1918.
We're talking about World War I.
So put your seatbelts on and
get ready to rock and roll.
In World War I, soldiers on the battlefield stayed in trenches while in battle.
What is a trench, you ask? A trench is a long, narrow ditch covered in dirt and mud.
They were cold, dark, diseased places in which soldiers had to stay in for days, weeks, and often months at a time.
Yes, speaking of diseases, one of the most common mental illnesses from World War I trenches was shell shock.
What's shell shock?
Shell shock is a term coined to describe the reaction of some soldiers in World War I to the trauma of battle. It was a reaction to the intensity of the bombardment and fighting that produced a helplessness appearing variously as panic and being scared or flight, an inability to reason, sleep, walk, or talk.
Wow, it sounds a bit like PTSD.
Wait, what? What's PTSD?
Oh, PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, is a mental health condition that's triggered by terrifying events, either experiencing it or witnessing it. Symptoms may include flashbacks, nightmares, and severe anxiety, as well as uncontrollable thoughts about the event.
That sounds terrifying. I wonder if there are any famous recorded cases of shell shock.
I'm glad you brought that up, Annie, because this is a photo of a well-known horrifying experience during World War I. It was taken in the trench in September 1916 during the Battle of Courcelette in France. It shows a broken man in a muddy trench in the middle of a field. This is a phase of shell-shocked soldier. This is what it looks like to be pushed far beyond the human limits. This man and so many others are suffering from hysterical paralysis, heart palpitations, nightmares, confusion, impaired sight, and hearing. The sad thing is, this was at a time when mental illness was not understood, and many soldiers were put on trial for desertion, often branded cowards and weak-willed. Thankfully now, PTSD is recognized and offered help to those it affects. During this time, the soldiers fighting with shell shock disorder were put on trial and executed.
Wow, how tragic. Anyways, now we are going to really take you back to real trench and show you the life of brave men had to live every day. We're going to travel back in time, and we're going to interview Sir Lionel Dunsterville and Herbert Kitchener. These men were both marshals in World War I, who both were executed for being victims of shell shock. Now it's time to go back once, for real now, and show you what crucial situations occurred in this era of destruction and diseases. Let's go!
Sir Lionel Dunsterville, I am Jada Hernandez, and I will be interviewing you today. Is that all right?
Very well. Don't make it too long. I must get back to the battle before it gets too dangerous for you to be here.
Okay. My first question is, what is it like to stay in trenches for days to weeks at a time?
I can only describe life in a trench as one word: horrendous. It has a specific stench, musty, dirty men, there's rats, and there's below 0-degree weather every day. It is damp and lonesome.
Wow, I'm sorry. My second question is, what are most soldiers' thoughts when they first start living in trenches?
Soldiers go in with a complete different attitude than when they get out. They believe everyone is going to die, and I was one of them.
Wow, again, that's horrific. My last question is, what did your fellow soldiers think when you were getting symptoms of shell shock?
Well, they thought I had gone mad with the disease of the body, not the mind, until they started noticing my constant anxiety, confusion, and flat-out insanity.
Well, sir, I don't think you're crazy. I just think you had bad experiences.
Well, thank you, dear. I must go now. Good day.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day. Maybe we can have a longer interview someday.
Maybe.
Now, back to Annie in the head trenches.
Thanks, Jada. So, Sir Kitchener, are you ready to answer a few questions?
Affirmative. Let's begin, shall we? But, keep it short.
Let's get started then. Alright, so first off, what were you thinking when you first began having symptoms of shell shock?
I thought I was already dead. The nurses in the head tents told me so. I tried to keep it from my fellow soldiers, yet it made me more frantic. I thought I would shatter my career as a military man. I was afraid of myself and what would happen to me.
Wow, you must have been scared. My second question is, when did people figure out you had shell shock?
Everyone knew right away. I broke out in cold sweats every night. They figured out so quickly I was so terrified. People treated me different. I was humiliated.
Alright, my last question is, what were your thoughts when you were executed?
I remember thinking about how ecstatic I would be when I was dead and let go of my misery. I just couldn't stand the thought of leaving my family, though.
I'm very sorry, Sir Kitchener. But I think I have to leave now, but I hope we can meet again.
All right, bye-bye, dear.
I hope you learned more about trenches during World War I, and I hope you laughed from our presentation.
This was a good way to learn more, and I hope you are grateful that you don't have to live in a trench. And we would like to thank you for watching.
Hope you enjoyed. Bye.